Okay, we're back again live. So we keep going on the left angle cross of revolution with the 6-2 profile, and that's my brother Marcus. He is this profile. So especially for you, the 6-2 on this cross of revolution, the final formula for duality. I like it. Excess. And here again, in the sixth line, where are we going? We're going to the 29 gate. It's next door. And the 29 goes, yes, yes, yes. And yes to what? Yes to the abstract. Let's go out of this logical trap. Think about it. Duality has begun with just the 7 and the 4. This deeply logical stuff, right in its pattern. Always trying to find a formula for which the fates will tell you there is no formula. And it's not like the abstract is any better at answers. It's just that they're better at experience. At least they go through it. So the 6-2, repeated and unconscious abusive of norms, will not escape discipline. This is all about techniques. If you're a 6-2 and you go through your third line phase, this line is very much related, like the one night stand line in the 59-6 as well. See, this is very much related to the early Saturnian phase. That if you're a 4, fourth gate, this cross 6 line, that you know that the chances are that the first 30 years of yours, that you're going to have your share of access, that you're going to go into it. And remember that you're going to go into it for the pleasure, for the acceptance, for the irresponsibility, for the lies, for the seduction. You take it all with you. You jump into the whole thing, into the whole hog. You hold your nose and you wait and you see what happens. Of course, you go in with the expectation that it's all going to be wonderful and beautiful. Otherwise, you don't really get the impact of the lesson that really needs to be learned. You get smacked around. If you don't jump in it, if you're not overwhelmed by it, you can never find techniques. Remember, you're always the learning the potential of the third line, its capacity to learn from failure. So one of the things about the 6-2, the potential of that 6-2 is to really be able to learn from access in order to be able to provide as a role model techniques. Again, you're still caught in a logical thinking that somehow logic is going to allow us to be able to find a way to live with the other. It's hilarious, but it's wonderful that logic meets its limit. It doesn't stand alone. Even though logic is what our framework is built on, what our genetics are built on, it still isn't the only thing that makes your life work. It can be. It's very limiting. When you're going to have to see how the individuality works, how the tribe works, in order to be able to get a larger picture of the way in which each of these processes tries to come to grips with something that they can never truly solve. In other words, the illusion of the oneness, the illusion that brings us together through the genetic attraction, that this illusion is something that we can never achieve. It's always an illusion, which is why logic gives us all these ways to pretend that it's there or to see that it's there in a positive light. And it's an all for the genes so they can ensure reproduction, so they can ensure they will nurture the young. Okay? So good luck with that. Then we go to the 6-3. When you're dealing with the 6-3, you're dealing with bridges to the 29. And it's one thing to theorize about it, that the roles are. It's one of the things to see about what the formula should be. It's another thing to actually have to commit to it and say yes. And to enter into it is an experience. And to enter into the experience not from the light, but from the abyss, from the deep, 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 from the depth of the 29. To try to come to the surface in this deep, deep, deep void in order to find some light. You can start down there. And again, to be able to see that the 6-3 will go through the 3-3 chaos, but in many ways, like the 6-3 in this quarter, they will develop very stable techniques for maintaining relationships. Just stable. And as their techniques are self restraint, so it basically says logic says, well, okay, if logic is going to work, if duality is going to work, then what we need self restraint. We need understanding. We need fantasy. We need to be able to play the game. We need to be able to accept. We need to recognize that pleasure comes and goes. All that is very good advice, isn't it? How nice of logic to give us all that advice. Isn't the best that logic can do. They say, we'll try that, we try this, whatever. One of the things you notice, for example, I'm a fifth line personality, so I'm going to resonate to the fifth line themes. I'm going to resonate the fifth line logical approach. That's the natural approach. My approach is you're allowed to think you have a relationship with me. That's the best I can do. If you end up being seduced into my aura, that's the best I can do. If I can accept you, that you can think you have a relationship with me, that's what else can I do? That's the logic of it. My experiential side. In this 30th gate, is the fifth gate line is the gate of irony. If you see the irony in that, but what to do? That seems to work for me. I'm surely not going to indulge myself in trying to figure out whether it have a relationship with you. That's not the point, at least not for me. So what you get to see is what when you're looking at the way in which logic is laid out, or you look at the formulas for you're looking at all these basic formulas that logic has worked out over the whole primitive cycle on how to convince ourselves to be able to stay in relationships long enough so that we can make more children who have the same problems we do. Aren't the gods great, sweet, and kind? Don't we love the program? It's such a wonderful thing when you get not be victim of it. When you can see the beauty of relationships without having to qualify them in relationships itself. There are some people I love to fly along with. That's nice. That's all there is. So, thank you very much.